Before we begin, let me ask you something. Have you ever felt like a woman was saying one thing, but meaning something completely different? Like she's smiling, but testing you, asking a simple question, but secretly judging your answer, watching you, not for what you say, but for how you react. Most men miss it, not because they're not smart, but because they've never been taught how to see it. Welcome to Woman's Secret Signals, the channel where we decode what women don't say, but always show. Here, you won't get cliches, pickup lines, or fake alpha advice. You'll learn the real psychology behind attraction, the subtle tests, the unspoken signals, and the behaviors that instantly separate confident men from the ones who get ignored. Because the truth is, women don't fall for words. They respond to presence, to emotional control, to the man who understands the game without looking like he's playing one. So if you're ready to stop guessing, stop overthinking, and start seeing what's really happening beneath the surface, you're in the right place. Let's begin. There's something deeply intriguing about the dynamic between a younger woman and an older man. It's not just about age, it's about presence, stability, and a kind of grounded confidence that can't be faked. When a woman finds herself drawn to an older man, it often comes from a psychological place that goes far beyond surface-level attraction. Older men tend to represent certainty in a world full of confusion. They've experienced life, made mistakes, and developed emotional control. For many women, especially those tired of immaturity or inconsistency, this becomes incredibly appealing. It feels safe. It feels solid. But here's the part most men don't realize. This attraction is not blind. It comes with evaluation. When a woman craves an older man, she doesn't just fall for him, she studies him. She watches how he speaks, how he reacts, and most importantly, how he handles subtle emotional pressure. Because in her mind, an older man should be different. He should be more composed, more self-aware, and less reactive than the men she's dealt with before. This is where the tests begin, not in an obvious way, not like an interview or interrogation. Instead, they come disguised as simple questions, casual, almost innocent. But behind those questions lies a deeper intention. She wants to see if he truly embodies the maturity she's seeking, or if he's just another man hiding behind age. And here's the truth. Most men fail these tests without even realizing they were being tested. In this video, we're going to break down the two key questions women use, why they ask them, and how the right response can instantly set a man apart. The first question often comes sooner than expected, and it sounds simple. What do you want from me? On the surface, it feels like a normal question, almost reasonable. But psychologically, it carries much more weight than most men realize. When a woman asks this, she's not just asking for clarity, she's testing emotional alignment, confidence, and intention. She wants to see if the man is grounded in himself or if he becomes uncertain the moment things get serious. Especially with an older man, she expects a level of decisiveness that younger men often lack. Now here's where most men go wrong. They either become overly logical, giving a structured, almost robotic answer, or they become too eager, trying to say exactly what they think she wants to hear. Both responses signal the same thing: insecurity. And insecurity instantly breaks the image of maturity she's hoping to find. An older man who truly understands himself doesn't rush to define everything. He doesn't feel pressured to label the connection immediately. Instead, he stays calm, present, and honest without over-explaining. A strong response isn't about giving the perfect answer. It's about delivering it with clarity and ease. Something like, I'm enjoying getting to know you, and I'm open to seeing where this goes. Simple, direct, no pressure, no desperation. This kind of response communicates emotional control. It shows that he's not trying to force an outcome, nor is he afraid of one. And that balance is exactly what she's looking for. Because ultimately, this first test is about one thing. Does he lead with confidence, or does he seek approval? Pass this test, and you immediately separate yourself from the majority of men she's encountered before. The second question cuts deeper, and it often catches men off guard. Why are you still single? It may sound playful, even curious, but underneath, it's one of the most revealing tests a woman can give. When a woman asks this, she's not just asking about your relationship history. She's trying to understand your emotional past, your self-awareness, and most importantly, whether there's something wrong that other women have already discovered. Think about it from her perspective. If you're older, experienced, and seemingly high value, then logically, you should have been in something meaningful already. So if you're not, her mind starts filling in the blanks. This question is her way of quietly investigating those gaps. And once again, most men fail right here. Some become defensive, listing reasons or blaming past partners. Others downplay their past completely, saying things like, I just haven't found the right one, in a way that feels generic and rehearsed. Both responses raise subtle red flags. They either suggest unresolved bitterness or a lack of depth. But a man who passes this test does something different. He owns his story without emotional baggage. A strong answer might sound like, I've had meaningful relationships, but I've also learned what truly works for me. I'd rather wait for something real than settle for something that isn't aligned. This response does three powerful things. It shows emotional maturity, it signals standards, and it communicates that being single is a choice, not a flaw. And that's the key. She's not looking for perfection. She's looking for emotional stability. Someone who reflects, learns, and grows instead of reacting or avoiding. Because in her mind, an older man isn't just defined by his years, he's defined by how well he's understood them. What makes these two questions so powerful is not the words themselves. It's how subtly they expose a man's inner world. And the truth is, most men don't fail because they lack intelligence or experience. They fail because they react instead of respond. When a woman asks, what do you want from me? Or, why are you still single? She's observing more than just your answer. She's watching your tone, your body language, your emotional control. Do you hesitate? Do you over-explain? Do you seem like you're trying to impress her? These small signals reveal something much deeper, whether a man is centered in himself or seeking validation. Many men, even older ones, fall into the trap of trying to get it right. They treat the interaction like a test they need to pass, instead of a moment to express who they genuinely are. Ironically, that pressure is exactly what causes them to fail. Because the moment you try to perform, you lose authenticity, and women are incredibly intuitive when it comes to detecting that. Another common mistake is overcompensation. Some men try to appear overly dominant or detached, thinking it shows strength. But forced confidence feels just as unnatural as insecurity. It creates emotional distance rather than attraction. What women are actually looking for is emotional consistency, not perfection, not dominance, not rehearsed answers, but a man who is comfortable in his own skin. Someone who doesn't get shaken by simple questions, because his sense of self isn't dependent on someone else's approval. And this is especially important when it comes to older men. Age raises expectations. She assumes you've done the internal work, that you've learned from your past, and that you carry yourself with quiet confidence. So when those expectations aren't met, the attraction drops quickly. Because in the end, these tests aren't about catching you, they're about confirming you. Here's the irony. If you focus on passing these tests, you've already lost. Because the moment you start calculating your responses, you step out of authenticity and into performance. And performance is exactly what these questions are designed to expose. The real way to pass isn't about memorizing the right lines. It's about becoming the kind of man who doesn't need them. When a woman asks you these questions, she's not looking for perfection. She's looking for emotional steadiness. She wants to feel that you're grounded, that you know who you are, and that your answers come from a place of truth, not strategy. So instead of trying to impress her, shift your mindset. See these moments as opportunities, not tests. Opportunities to express your perspective, your standards, and your intentions without pressure. When you answer calmly, without rushing, when you speak clearly, without over-explaining, and when you remain present without trying to control the outcome, that's when you naturally stand out. Because most men are either chasing approval or avoiding rejection. Very few are simply being, and that's what creates attraction at the deepest level. An older man who truly understands this doesn't try to prove his worth. He embodies it. His confidence is quiet, his presence is steady, and his words carry weight because they're backed by self-awareness. So the next time you hear those questions, don't overthink them. Pause, smile, and answer from a place of clarity. Because in the end, it's not about what you say, it's about who you are when you say it.